Hi there beautiful dreamers, welcome back to Emmy och Soleil Dreamwork. The beautiful autumn month October is here, along with some astrological encounters, starting with Pluto moving into Capricorn the 3rd, as in tomorrow. And let us for a moment consider the full extent of such a symbolical movement and turn to the Sumerian epos of creation where Pluto's name was Gaga and was actually thrown all the way to the end of the solar system. Gaga was a moon or a satellite, probably belonging to Saturn or Anshar, as this planet was called by the Sumerians. And Anshar sent Gaga away as some kind of emissary with warnings about the planet Tiamat, who in this Sumerian epos is told to be our beautiful planet Earth's foremother. And Tiamat was raging because the giant Nibiru, described as having the glory of 10 gods, entered the solar system and was heading straight towards her. And it's not hard to see that when a huge celestial body approaches another one, the one with the weaker radiation is obviously under the impact of the stronger ones. This is both a scary and a beautiful story about destruction and rebirth. And the bottom line is that off went Gaga, thrown away by the excruciating gravity of Nibiru to the darkest corner of the solar system. So the Sumerian Gaga is of course the original model for the Greek death god Hades and the Roman synonym actually named Pluto. And Hades is in the Bible, as many of you probably know, the name of the location of the realm of death, which means the one who was stricken came to personalize the own wound. And I would like to think that this is the initial reason for Pluto being considered having a devastating impact. Pluto is known for carrying quite purging energies, awakening underlying power with its mere presence and being the one who reveals deep buried truths. I would say there is actually more to the story, so let's take it from the beginning. Saturn then, as in Anshar in the Sumerian myth, sent Gaga away to make other members of the solar system aware of an immediate danger. He or she was then the godly messenger who was sacrificed. This has its equivalent in the Greek Zeus assigning Hades, the underworld, to reign over, except for the small difference that the Nibiru impact is not mentioned. You know Hades from the Eleusinian mysteries, in which he captured the little girl Kore, who was transformed into Persephone because of becoming queen of death. Quite an initiation. Just think about this scenario for a while. Hades is the darkest and coldest place to be, the realm of death. And Gaga is the girl Kore, turning into Persephone, returning cyclically and then bringing with her the scary energies from the underworld. Energies which may feel both relentless and unscrupulous. And soon this little but scary girl, as in Pluto, Gaga, will enter Capricorn, where the Pluto energies are considered being those of unexplorers. And Capricorn is in Sumerian myth called Suhurmash, meaning fish goat, and the sign is dedicated to Enki or Ea, the wise and kind god, over at first the earth and then the water. And in one of the stories in the Sumerian mythology, Enki went down to the realm of death to take back the goddess Ishtar from there. She was a rebellion in many aspects, this Ishtar, and brave enough to in the first place go there to get her lover back, but it didn't go so well. But then Enki rescued her, as said, and brought her back to life, and I guess her coming back from the realm of death scared the living daylight out of quite a few. Enki's rescuing of Ishtar could absolutely be seen as quite an adventurous thing to do too, but also very brave and loving. So therefore I would like to say that Pluto in Capricorn comes with the energies of courage, sprung from unconditional love, the kind that means the difference between life and death, at least symbolical. And look at this in the light of a soul part rescue, the kind of shadow work we have to do for ourselves at least once upon a lifetime. Symbolically seen as something that happened in your personal solar system's early beginning, which could be symbolized by the Sumerian creation epos then, where a huge threat enters the earlier order, Nibiru, and through big trauma causing a piece of the soul to be sent away to the darkness, just like Gaga. So the brave and kind Enki, the goatfish Suhurmash, here symbolizing an active aspect of the self, the doing itself, bravely bringing one's attention to what's missing and what has to be found. Pluto moving into the rescuing arms of Capricorn, October 3rd, tomorrow, also comes with a special significance since the numerological value of tomorrow is both 7 and 13. Because 2019 summed up becomes 12 plus 10 as in October plus 3 as in tomorrow, and this means 25, which added up is 7, and then there is 10 plus 3, which is 13. And 7 symbolizes being on one's way towards something new, and 13 means breaking up from the past. And this means that tomorrow, the 3rd, is a perfect day for taking that step you have not dared to take, or of course for doing that deep work in order to bring back what you have once lost. Especially if you are one of those belonging to the so-called Generation X, which you are if being born between 1995 and 2008. If so, you could be one of those daredevils who like to conquer the current order of things, which is a good thing in these days when your world is going through a transformation. Important though is to make sure you are not going astray in the webs of old conspiracies, because many are those who want to use the bravery of the youth, just like the Sumerian Anshar sent out that innocent little Gaga as a messenger of coming disaster. Not that some form of disaster wasn't on its way, but the old Anshar forgot to say, or if he just didn't understand because of his old narrow beliefs, that it all had to do with new life coming from the old. Tiamat was on her way to give birth to our planet Earth, through being split in 2 halves, one of these halves being impregnated by the giant Nibiru in order to create new life. And Tiamat was trembling in travails just like this Earth are doing now. We are on our way into a new age, and just like I told you in the video Apocalyptic Era Without Fear a couple of months ago, there really is a quest going on between wisdom and fear right now. Doomsday preachers are out there spreading fear instead of teaching us about what is important, our soul plan. Going from not knowing to illumination. Don't let yourself then get lost in the fear jungle, don't get stuck in the webs of conspiracies. The same day as Pluto enters Sagittarius, Mercury enters Scorpio, and this means learning to understand that which is scaring us. This means really helping energy for those who dare that journey to retrieve that lost part of his soul. And Scorpio is the sign for Hades, the death god, who is the symbol for what actually scares most part of humanity the very most. And this is what we have encountered once upon a time, causing us great pain, and that we fear, just as we fear the world will come to an end. And we really want to avoid thinking about things like that. Rather, we like to cut it loose from our consciousness, but that's not possible since no one can really escape their own shadow. Better than to learn to understand that which scares us and embrace it, take it home again and transform it into strength. Then the 4th of October, Mars enters Libra, which could alter what's left of the balance during this probably being a little shaky ride. But don't despair, because only a couple of days later, the 7th sun will, which is in Libra, will square Saturn, who is in Capricorn. And this will bestow the light that is needed in the situation, and you will not be stuck in any Saturn cobwebs of fear or doomsday. And Mercury, still being in Scorpio, will also oppose to Uranus, who has a tendency to run scientific facts without caring about the spiritual side of things. And make things pretty clear about that fear isn't really needed when understanding is available. And the day after, Venus will also enter Scorpio with all the loving energy needed for comforting a frozen soul part, having felt like being deported to the coldest place in the universe. Which reminds me of the fact that I forgot mentioning that already the 1st October Venus squared Pluto, sending a message of balance and love, telling the little frozen one that everything will be okay. Trust in that, dear ones, and when the full moon comes the 13th, being in areas you already know what you will let go of, that which isn't any longer needed as a shield against what used to scare you. Don't sacrifice what you were afraid of, and don't sacrifice fear. Instead, let go of your need for alienating yourself from whatever you will be intimidated by in the future. By bravely doing that, you also set a goal for your coming new moon ceremony, the 28th, inviting the opposite of what you sacrifice. Instead of turning away from things that scare you, you set the spotlight on it. And guess what? You will get help already the 23rd when Sun moves into the sign of Scorpio. So I want to finish this new newsletter for October by telling you about Antares, the old wise woman in the heart of Scorpio. If it wasn't for her, he would rage out in his pain in a role as Nergal, the son of Enki. Nergal is of course then in many aspects synonym to Hades, being the one residing over the cold and boring realm of death. Well, someone has to take the night shift. According to the Sumerian myth, Ishtar's sister Ereshkigal was designated to be Nergal's wife down there at the last outpost. She's synonym and syncretized, what's the name? Syncretized, well, she's synonym with the Greek Hecate, who happens to be the old wise woman watching over Kore during her transformation to Persephone. And Antares is a star placed at the location of the heart of Scorpio, and this means she is his feminine inner core, or Kore, offering him her timeless wisdom, and her energies are opposing the raging and warring ones of Mars, who is ruling the sign of Scorpio. This means Antares calms Scorpio down, and this is thus the role of Ereshkigal, whose wisdom and calmness keeps Nergal from causing more trouble than necessary. There is a he and there is a she to it all, just the way darkness is needed just as much as the light. And we all need stillness at heart, peace in mind, and a balancing wisdom inside, and this we have. We just have to be reminded about it and then go inwards and find it in our hearts. Everything is just as it is supposed to be. Follow your heart and trust in the soul. So to be able to take part of the monthly offer, which comes with every newsletter in mail form, you are welcome to subscribe to Emilia Soleil's monthly newsletter in mail form then, and you do this by joining our mailing list on www.emiasoleil.com. And if you are interested in shadow work, you may contact me on emiasoleildreamwork@gmail.com, and also of course when it comes to other orders or questions about my work, do always feel welcome to send me a few words. Thank you so much for listening, and much love to you all, and namaste.